ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Hope everyone had a great weekend. It is time for your Monday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour for this May 5th, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. A little bit later on, we're going to hear from Coach Megan Zirkle. Had a chance to head over to softball just for a few minutes yesterday and talk to her. Also talked to Riley Lucas. So they're getting set for the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. Today's a travel day, so they're still progressing as we speak. Hopefully, I think they've got to their destination right about now. If not, they're still on their way. But of course, number 2 seed. Herd with a sweep over the weekend and just needed a couple of things to happen. Didn't happen, so the Herd's the 2 seed, and that's okay. You know, you're pretty much set for where you're going to be in that tournament anyway. We're going to hear from Coach Zirkle in just a few minutes, and Riley Lucas as well. It was cool to talk to Riley yesterday. I don't know why. She gets nervous when you talk to her. And it was just a couple of us there, and we were looking at her, and I'm like, Riley, why do you get nervous with us? Just us, after all. But she was really good to talk to. So we'll get that here in a few minutes, and we'll hear from Coach Z as well. And, of course, we're going to make time for you. Our text line, as always, is open during the show at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. So we'll get that going here in a few minutes as we had a busy weekend, baseball, hockey, NBA, all of that this weekend. The things we want to start with is, of course, Marshall baseball. Old Dominion beat the Herd 8-2. Herd, unfortunately, dropping 2 out of 3 over the weekend to the Monarchs. I wasn't expecting that. Herd's still in good shape right now. I look for the Herd to be in the tournament, so I'm not really worried there. Mississippi State beat Kentucky 6-1 in baseball. The Bulldogs swept the Wildcats over the weekend. And number 16 WVU beat Texas Tech 5-0. The Mountaineers win the weekend in the Big 12 series 2-1. And, of course, NBA playoffs, the series that we care about the most. Indiana beating Cleveland 121-112. Game 2 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock in Cleveland. And, then, of course, baseball action yesterday with the majors. The Padres got the better of the Pirates 4-0. The Bucks are opening up a series at St. Louis tonight. We're going to have that for you. We'll go on the air 7:20 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And then Nationals and the Reds yesterday. Nationals got the better of the Redlegs 4-1. Cincinnati's taking on Atlanta tonight, 7:15 there. And then the Guardians got the better of the Blue Jays, 5-4. Cleveland taking on Washington tonight at 6:45. So that's a pretty quick wrap-up of what we had yesterday. And, of course, we've got a lot to get into. One thing that we really couldn't talk about much because we don't have that much detail, and it happened over the weekend. There was a police incident. Huntington police arrested Tavion Nelson of Staten Island, New York, in conjunction with an ongoing investigation which was originating from a double shooting that occurred on the 2400 block of Collis Avenue on the 27th. Nelson sustained a gunshot wound in the incident, charged with first-degree robbery, felony first-degree robbery. An additional first-degree robbery warrant was signed on Messiah Petty this afternoon, turning himself in voluntarily at the Campbell County Courthouse. He was arrested by Huntington police officers on the warrant for that robbery. And the reason we mention this, of course, it doesn't have much relevancy in the grand scheme of things for Marshall Athletics, but Marshall dismissing, and we really didn't get to know him very well, Tavion. So he, a one-time defensive back for the Thundering Herd, dismissed from the team, and he was a 3-star recruit out of high school. He was at Maryland. Then he entered the transfer portal, and he signed with Marshall. Entered the portal on December 13th, and then a week later, he signed with the Thundering Herd. Petty's also a student, but not involved with athletics. So we bring that up only because of the fact that there was a connection with him and the football team. That is no longer the case. The team has dismissed him, so he is no longer on the roster. And, of course, I thought that was going to be coming anyway, to be honest with you. It's not that big of a sports story, but there will be people who kind of bring that connection up. And really, it's not that much of a connection. I mean, he entered the transfer portal on the 13th, and then he gets into the portal for a week or so before he gets picked up by Marshall, and there you go. And now he's been dismissed from the team. And hopefully that's the end of this story. We'll, of course, follow it throughout the news on what happened next. And it's disappointing. You hate that for anyone. The whole idea of getting in the transfer portal is to get a fresh start or go somewhere where it's a better opportunity for you. And then you see players, and it doesn't matter. It can be anyone, any team. It doesn't matter. It's not a football-specific thing, but you see players all the time across the country getting involved in things. And the whole landscape has changed to make it better, not necessarily for the schools, but for the student athlete, for the player. There's more opportunities for these individuals to make money, to earn money, and you see stories like this, which just disappoints me. Yeah, I don't know the young man. I don't know his situation. I don't know his background. I don't know what prompted this, and I don't, even want to guess at anything and misspeak. But you see stories like that, and it's just disappointing. And, of course, there will be that connection. Oh, hey, former Marshall player. I mean, that's the headline on some of the stories. Former Marshall football player. Wasn't around long. Didn't really get to know him. Here for a hot minute. And now the story is former Marshall football player. So that was disappointing news over the weekend. Unfortunately, these things happen. They're going to continue to happen. Sometimes it's going to intersect with sports. So we mention it. We acknowledge it. Probably won't follow this much longer. But, you never know. You never know what the background of a young man is or a young woman when you bring them in. With the transfer portal, you try to do your due diligence. You try to vet them the best you can. And so that's one thing that I will applaud anyone from the previous coaching staff, and we'll see how this coaching staff, deals with the transfer portal as well, is you got to do your due diligence and understand who these individuals were. That's what I liked about Coach Huff, is he always said, hey, look, somebody has got to have a connection to this player, this person. Somebody's got to have, we have to have a connection, a line of sight just about on these individuals. And that doesn't mean you're going to, get someone who is going to be perfect all the time. But how difficult is it going to be in the future with the transfer portal to try to vet these young men, these student athletes, bring them into your program and make sure that they're the right fit, make sure that they don't have anything that's in their background that would give you reason to maybe have a second thought? How difficult is that going to be for athletic departments across the country, including Marshall, just to make sure that you don't have things like this pop up as much? And to give, everyone their due, you don't know about these things, but you bring people on campus, and, in the previous method of bringing student athletes on campus, it was not 100% either, but you would have a long recruiting process. Now, players enter the portal. Okay, what do we have on him? Does anyone talk to him before? Do we have notes on him? What can we say about them? Good character, good person, good individual, nothing showing up in their background. You got to do all that work. You got to do your due diligence, and you got to probably do it quickly sometimes. And there's lots of information that you're going to have to process. So just how important is that going to be in the future is one of my questions prompted by this today. But as we know right now, the second individual in this case turning themselves in today. And unfortunately for Tavion Nelson, he got himself involved in this, and he has been dismissed from the team. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll talk about this and more. Later on, we're going to hear from Riley Lucas. Also, Coach Z will be with us as we get you set for softball. The Herd in the tournament, the number 2 seed. We'll talk about that and more as this hour continues on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Finish your painting projects faster with GE Painters Pro Caulk. It's flexible and offers lasting adhesion, making it ideal for both indoor and outdoor applications. The quick-drying caulk creates a durable, water-resistant seal, and it's paint-ready after 30 minutes. Save big on GE Painters Pro Caulk. Plus, check out the weekly flyer on Menards.com for plenty more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Are you having heating trouble? We can fix it. At General Heating and Air Conditioning, a proud supplier of York heating and cooling products, that's what you're most likely to hear. Because our technicians are trained to repair, not to sell. We complete an average of 20 repair service calls per day, and over 90% get fixed without the need for a new furnace or air conditioner. So if you want friendly, fast, accurate, and affordable service and don't want pressure sales, then you want General Heating and Air Conditioning, a company you can trust since 1968.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Hit the road with the all-new University Ford. Choose from over 400 vehicles, all tariff-free, because Ford builds more American-made vehicles and employs more American workers than any other auto manufacturer. And now, for a limited time, University Ford is excited to extend their employee discount to you. That's right. Take advantage of employee pricing from University Ford. From America, for America. Don't wait. Get started at UniversityFordWV.com. We are University Ford. We are driving tradition forward.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Welcome back to this Monday edition of The Drive as we get you home or wherever you're at. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Softball getting set for the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. The Herd's the 2 seed in the tournament coming up in Troy, Alabama. The Herd's first tournament game is going to be Thursday. It's going to be against the winner of a Wednesday matchup between the 7th-seeded Coastal Carolina Chanticleers and 10th-seeded Southern Miss. Obviously, with our newfound rivalry with Southern Miss, a new program in the Sun Belt, we are rooting for Coastal Carolina to eliminate Southern Miss. But we'll take on all comers. It was obvious that this Herd softball team got better as the season progressed. Could have been the 1 seed, so close, absolutely so close. And when I talked to Riley Lucas yesterday, I asked her, was there any extra motivation with this team finishing second?
Yes, a little bit, but I know what this team has to offer, and I know how we play on the field, and I know that we can go out there and win it all no matter what seed we're in. So that's always the great part about it. I know what we're capable of, so I know what we're going to go out and do.
And I thought Coach Z was pretty candid with me as well, as far as there's some extra motivation knowing that you could have been the regular season champion. You were so close.
For sure. We lost the series to a team that didn't even make it in the tournament. So that's kind of like, man, if we would have taken care of business, we would be number one. But at the same time, we knew we'd have to win the conference tournament to get to regionals, and that's our goal. Marshall hasn't been there since 2017, so would love for them to, use all of that to put together to win this conference tournament.
Yeah, that's a good point. You win the regular season championship, and that's great. You have a trophy, and obviously you want to be the regular season champion. But you want to get to regionals, you got to win the tournament. You got to get back to that spot where at one point you could look at the sports at Marshall University and go, all right, which one's going to be the team most likely to get into the NCAA postseason? And you would have probably said, well, possibly tennis, almost definitely softball. Softball's always going to be good. And so you're right there. You finish second. You could have finished first. If a series would have went your way, you would have been the number one seed, but that doesn't get you into the NCAA tournament. That doesn't get you to regional. So absolutely the right attitude for her, the fact that it's tournament time. And when we talk to Coach, she's happy. She's excited because it's single elimination, and we don't have to go through the whole run up to tournament now. We know what's at stake. It's the NCAA tournament, and you got to go out there. So she's excited when we talk to her about that.
Yeah, they're super excited. Just the growth of this team from week one to now, and feel like they're in a really good spot, and they have a lot of confidence going in this tournament. So excited to see what they can do.
That's a good point. This team has gotten better, as we alluded to. It's gotten stronger. I thought they finished really well. You finish with a sweep. Doesn't matter the opponent. You got to feel good about where you're at. You finish second and with a sweep. That's some confidence. Now, of course, there are a few teams with confidence going in as well. But when talking to Riley Lucas yesterday, she agreed. Right now, this team is confident. This team also is playing probably its best softball.
Yes, I feel really confident in our ability to go out there and beat any team that we face in the conference tournament.
And she alluded a little bit more to that as we talked to her. Just the fact that this team, they're cardiac kids, just about. You never know where the offense is coming from, when the offense is coming, and they have this ability just to go out and to come from behind. You don't even worry about it most days anymore. You know that the herd's always going to have a rally.
Our thing is to come back. Yeah, we've had a lot of come from behind games this year. So I know that if it's not working out in the first few innings, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to score some runs before that seventh inning.
And Coach Z kind of echoed that as well. This team just has an ability to go out to score at any time, any spot in the lineup.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between some of the teams that we play. Like, we're a little nervous at the top of the lineup, and they're like, okay, you got 7, 8, 9 right here. But our team, you never know who's going to produce. It could be the 8-hole that's, 3 for 3 that game. So just to have that power throughout the lineup and just a lot of people able to score runs it's scary, I think, for other teams.
I agree with that. It's absolutely scary. You drop 6 or 7 in an inning, and all of a sudden you get a team really scrambling. Softball getting set for the Sun Belt Tournament coming up this week in Troy, Alabama. And, of course, over the weekend was Senior Day as well, and the seniors go out with a bang. But the one thing I can say about year 2 under Coach Z, and it's something we always expect with softball, there's always a good core of senior leadership, and the young players seem to be able to progress under that senior leadership as well. Coach Z talked about that mix.
For sure. We have a good group of senior leadership, and but aside from that, we do have a lot of young people on the field. So to see them, bring them along and figure it out here come conference play is really fun to see them pick up and play together. And when their hitting is on and our defense and pitching is right there, they're a pretty tough team to beat.
One thing that Riley Lucas talked to us about, I think Coach kind of alluded to that. Riley says there has to be 2 out of 3 things that happen for Marshall in any game for the herd to win. It doesn't have to be the same 2 things, but it has to be 2 out of 3 things that if Marshall's doing, Marshall will win the game.
Yeah, so we always say we need 2 out of 3 to win a game. We need either our pitching and our hitting, our defense and our hitting, defense and pitching. You need 2 out of 3 to win a ball game, and I think that the past few weekends we've had all 3. So I'm super confident in our defense is going to be stellar behind our pitchers' backs. Our pitchers are going to throw the ball like they know how they know they can, and the hitters are just going to continue to do what they do best.
And that is Riley Lucas. I had one more for Riley. I just asked her about the process. You're going into the tournament now. It's a one-game scenario. You win, you continue. You lose, you go home. So it's do or die, cliche as that might sound. Does that process change going into a one-game scenario?
I don't think so. I think we're going to continue to take it like we do any other game, scout the teams that we're about to play, prepare how we have been preparing for a series weekend, and just go from there.
Same question for Coach Z. Does that process change? She talked about focus.
I mean, we talk a lot about focus, and hey, it needs to be at an all-time high right now. We only have to win 3 games, but we need a lot of focus every pitch. Every pitch matters, every play matters. So that's definitely a message for the team. And yes, our offense can score in the 7th, so that gives us some confidence, but let's take care of the ball, every inning so that we're in a good position to win the game.
That is Coach Morgan Zirkle and, of course, Riley Lucas. I had a chance to catch up with them yesterday. This is a travel day for the Thundering Herd. Hopefully, we'll have more from Troy, Alabama this week. And it's a long week for the Thundering Herd in Alabama. It's time for you now. Our text line is open. Rest of the way. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. Anything stand out to you this weekend? Softball, baseball, football, anything? I'll leave it wide open for you. I've got some things as well. We'll get into all of that when we continue. Our text line number, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Big flavors, big savings, and top-notch quality. Only at Food Fair. Food Fair is excited to announce 3 new signature brands. Food Club brings families together with delicious, high-quality meals without the name brand price. Craven Flavors satisfies your cravings with bold, mouth-watering snacks, pizzas, and sweet treats. And Simply Done makes life easier with household essentials that get the job done right. Visit Food Fair today and enjoy the quality and savings in every aisle. Foodfairmarkets.com.
Thirsty for something local? Kerber Beer Company is serving up craft brews and great food with a full menu at their brand new tap room on Brady Street in the village of Barboursville. Enjoy trivia, live music, and more. Plus, when that weather finally warms up, grab a pint outside in their Brady Street beer garden. Can't make it to the brewery? Find Kerber Beer at more than 20 different locations. And if it's not on tap at your favorite spot, well, ask for it. Kerber Beer Company. From our village to your glass, KerberBeer.com.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West 9th Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition, presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. Kick off the summer Friday, May 16th. It's K&B Pest Control Night with Brad Goodall on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for next Friday, May 23rd for the Hooligans Homecoming Pre-Party. June 6th, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 15th. 9th Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinals Chevrolet. Every Friday night through Labor Day, 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communications. This Friday, it's Brad Goodall at Mount West 9th Street Live.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, Adult Family Care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an Adult Family Care Home Finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Save big on everything you need when you shop at Menards. We carry a variety of options for charging your cell phone and smart devices. Extreme cables charge your devices 2 times faster than standard cables, and they're protected with a durable mesh braided material. Plus, they're available in 4 and 10-foot lengths. Save big on Extreme cables, on sale now through May 11th. Also, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hurt at work? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
Sweetie, want some fruit? You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with this May 5th edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We do that at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. While we get texts going here in just a moment. Well, it's an interesting story. I came across the AP Wire about Mike Green, and Mike Green fell. I think that's obvious. Should have been a first-round pick. Should have been day one. He fell not too far, and ultimately he ended up with a good team. Going to Baltimore, round 2, that's a great pickup for Baltimore, and I think Mike's going to fit in just nicely there. I would still love to see him play with the Cincinnati Bengals, but we're over that now. And one of the things that really contributed, at least according to a lot of reports, teams were maybe a little hesitant to pick him up early because he faced multiple sexual assault allegations. And he wasn't discussing it too much at rookie camp this weekend, but he did speak to the Baltimore area media, the reporters, and that was a big topic. And the story that came out about this, he said, every team asked me, and I've been completely open about everything. It's something that I had to go through, and I got through it. Now, of course, we all know his story by now. Played at Virginia. Made his way to Marshall. And he was open about this. This wasn't something he was hiding. This wasn't something that he was trying to hope went away. He addressed it head on. He said so at the scouting combine that he was accused of this in high school. He was never charged, didn't do anything wrong, and that's his story. I can only share my interactions with him, and they were always positive, always pleasant. He was always willing to talk to us, made himself available, never had a problem with those media obligations. And I can only speak to his character and my interactions with him, and I found him to be pleasant to be around, found him to be pretty candid, found him to be someone that I had no problems with, no issues, didn't come off arrogant, didn't come off as, somebody that didn't want to be there. So I have nothing but praise for him in my limited interactions with him. We weren't discussing things like this. Our interactions may be a little bit more transactional, but still, I never had a problem with him. And I never encountered anyone that had a problem with him as well. No one would say to me, oh, this guy is, he's got an attitude, or no, the guy loves Marshall. And so we all got behind him. And when his stock fell, we were probably disappointed for him. But I will give him credit. He's taken it in stride. He's also addressed these issues. He said in the report, when he spoke with the reporters, he says, I'm just focused right now on moving forward with my career at the Ravens. I'm blessed to be here. It's an honor. And to the Ravens' credit, they did say they did their due diligence on him. That's a buzzword, but still, they did their due diligence. I think that's fair. Teams are going to do their homework. If you're going to spend a lot of money drafting a player, and you're going to invest in someone that you hope is going to be on your team for years to come, you're going to do your due diligence. Some teams got a little cold maybe on him. Some teams didn't want to deal with him after those allegations because they didn't want to deal with these questions and having to answer the whole due diligence. The Ravens decided in the second round, he's right there. We need to take him. We're confident, we're comfortable with that pick. And I understand the allegations are always going to be serious. You don't dismiss those and you don't make light of them. But at the same time, he was accused, he was not charged, and it's at this point, there's not a charge on the books here. We didn't have a trial. We didn't have anything other than an accusation. He says he did nothing wrong. I can't speak for the accuser. I won't dismiss the accuser, but at the same time, we're at that point now where it's there, the accusation's there. He says one thing, the accusation says another thing. He was not charged legally, and so we see what happened. Some teams got a little cold feet. He came forward with it. He didn't try to hide in the closet. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. No, he was forthcoming with that. That's a man who has, at least in his mind, felt like he did nothing wrong. And so he addressed that head on. And I think that's the right attitude for him. Just moving forward with his career. He got drafted in the second round. Could have been a first rounder. Should have been a first rounder. Doesn't matter where you start. It's where you end up. That's ultimately the NFL draft. You could be one of the best players in college sports and you don't get drafted high. Is that a reflection of you? Is that a reflection of what teams need? Is it a little bit of both? It doesn't mean that you're still a terrible person or you're a terrible player. Maybe you got evaluated wrong. Maybe you gave a bad interview. Maybe you are in a situation where your particular position, maybe there's a lot of depth right now in the NFL. Who knows? I'm just completely throwing stuff out there to make excuses for why players fall, whatever the reason may be for each individual player. I think Mike has taken it in stride. He's a second rounder. He's playing, hopefully, for many years with the Baltimore Ravens. And I hope that everything works out for him. I hope that he has a long career as a Baltimore Raven. And I appreciate the fact that he was able to take this head on, address it, not hide from it, and be willing to talk about it. Now, you might sound like we're playing favorites with Mike, and I understand that completely. I go back to my personal experiences with him. And limited as those may be compared to the grand scheme of things here, I always had good interactions with him, always found him to be available, present, personable, willing to talk, willing to answer questions, and good attitude all the way. I think this is a young man that needed a fresh start. Whatever went down, he was accused of something. He says he didn't do it. We didn't have a day in court, unfortunately, to ultimately resolve this, but I hope that he can move on with his life. And he's somebody that I think a lot of Marshall fans got to know and became, he became a fan favorite for a lot of Thundering Herd players. Now, of course, we're taking this on face value that he's innocent. And so if anything ever come out that he was not innocent, obviously new information and, our opinions would change just like that. But at this point, we go with the assertion that he's innocent. These were allegations. Nothing ever came upon him other than the allegations. And so we don't know if they're true or not. We're hoping that we think we know that these are allegations and allegations only. It's a tough subject, really, because I might not be right. I'm talking about this guy and hoping for the best for him. I might be wrong because I might not know the full story. And that's a tough place to be. But you have to talk about these things because it's part of the story. It's part of this journey to the NFL for him. Potential first rounder, falls to the second round. Why'd he fall? Well, there are these allegations that are hanging over him. Well, hey, I know Mike Green. All the time that we spent with him, he was a great guy. And we're a little biased on that with our information that we have. I mean, fans probably have a different opinion of him as well. Maybe it's all positive. I don't know. But if nothing else comes of this in the future and he goes on and he's a model citizen and he has a great career in the NFL, he'll come back years from now at Marshall. He'll be well regarded as a hero, someone that's always a herd brother. We talked about that a few weeks ago. That's the best outcome for him. If something would come up in the future that kind of shines a different light on this story, then we reevaluate it, good or bad. But I'm glad at least it's being addressed now. And if everything that we know holds true, I hope he has a great career. And I hope that he's able to come back to Marshall. I mean, he's got a Marshall tattoo. He's got to come back. He's got to be someone that needs to feel welcome. He gave what he had for Marshall, ended up here at Marshall, and I hope that Mike Green from years from now comes back and he's well regarded when he comes back and visited. When maybe he'll come back in the offseason. You don't have to wait so long. Get a season under your belt, come back in the offseason. Yeah, we'll see him at next year's spring game, hopefully. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'll leave it to you. How do you handle a situation like this? You have a student athlete that is accused of something. In this case, there were 2 allegations of sexual assault in high school. And he says, I did nothing wrong. I was never charged. But the allegations are there. And you should know that. This is in my past, these allegations. And how do you address that? What makes you feel comfortable knowing a person? I mean, because after all, you know him based on his interactions. You don't know what happened before he came to Marshall because you weren't there. You only know what you know now. How do you address a situation like this at the same time making sure that you're fair to everyone? You have to be fair. You have to be at some point impartial. It could be easy for me to come on and just completely take sides here. Oh yeah, the accuser's wrong. He's wrong. I could take a side in this. Now, I'm hopeful that Mike is true to his word, and so maybe there's a little bias there based on my interactions with him, but how do you handle a situation like this? Is this something that you just need more information on? You need more before you can really say? And, of course, the Ravens flat out said, look, we did our due diligence. We're good with the pick. We're good committing to this young man. We're good with what we know of the situation to bring him on board and to make him a Baltimore Raven. Texter says, Paul, I wish Mike Green nothing but the best. And I want to believe he's telling the truth. However, the red flag for me is 2 allegations. Appreciate the text. So once is maybe not a red flag. It's an allegation. Second allegation, maybe there's something there. And that's a fair red flag for a lot of people. Hey, you've had some trouble. What's that about? We don't know. We weren't there. So all we can go on is maybe the Ravens were able to do enough homework diligently to figure out, okay, we can commit to this young man. It's out there. we're good with him. We're good with the fact that we're going to have to address this, and we feel that we're making a good decision by bringing him on board with this baggage. Everyone's got baggage, some not so heavy, some with a heavy load. I understand everybody has something. None of us are perfect. But to the texture's point, 2 allegations, maybe that is a red flag for some. And of course, there were some teams that could have taken him, maybe needed a player like him, that passed on him. The Ravens decided to take him in the second round. More of your texts coming up. Our text line is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Our final segment's coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Here's another Kidford Communications Community Chatter. The Marshall University Huntington Alumni Chapter is holding a golf scramble fundraiser on Friday, June 20th at Creekside Golf Course in Lavalette. If you're interested in a sponsorship or you'd like to play, contact Vance Henshaw at vance1@marshall.edu. The Skinner Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Buddy's All-American Barbecue, home of the killer wings, great barbecue, ice cold beer in Huntington and Milton. Visit WVBBQ.com.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This spring, unleash the fun at Dave & Buster's Spring of Big, Big Games. Dave & Buster's has added over 100 new games, including never-before-seen hits like Top Gun, Godzilla VR, and UFC Challenge. Whether you're chasing high scores, battling your friends, or discovering your new favorite game, there's excitement around every corner. Plus, games are half off every Wednesday. Level up your fun at Dave & Buster's. Don't miss out on the Spring of Big, Big Games. Only at Dave & Buster's, located at the Huntington Mall.
Ladies, prioritizing your health starts with Marshall OBGYN. From screening exams to disease prevention to management of reproductive problems, our team offers a complete range of services for women of all ages. Thinking about growing your family? Marshall OBGYN's physicians are experienced in providing you the support you need for normal or high-risk pregnancies in a friendly, family-oriented environment. Learn more at marshallhealth.org/OBGYN.
Introducing your newest 5-star Chevy dealer, hailing from exit 34 off I-64. It's the all-new Cardinal Chevrolet, the Tri-State's fastest-growing Chevy dealer, with over 150 vehicles ready to roll. Every purchase comes with their exclusive Cardinal Care program, including a lifetime powertrain warranty on new, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage on used, plus lifetime tire rotations, West Virginia state inspections, and alignment checks. Vehicles for every budget, every credit type. Cardinal Chevrolet is here to get you driving. Visit them at exit 34 off I-64, online at cardinalchevy.com.
160,000 kids stay home from school every day for the same reason: bullying. This is Dale Lee, president of the West Virginia Education Association. Bullying impacts nearly 1/3 of all students every year, but parents, educators, and concerned adults can make a difference. It takes just one caring adult to intervene and help stop the bullying. Victims need an adult that will listen, will stand up for them, and most importantly, show them that they are not alone. Bullying and cyberbullying have far-reaching effects, from a decline in academic performance to physical illness, depression, or worse. Help us create a safe, bully-free learning environment for all students in West Virginia. One caring adult can make all the difference. Take the pledge to be that adult at nea.org/bullyfree.
A message from the West Virginia Education Association.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour, it's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been discussing Mike Green. News story came out over the weekend about his allegations. He was speaking to media. We got rookie camp going on, and there were a couple of allegations in his past. That's what contributed to his draft status falling just a bit. And he's been open and he has addressed it. He's spoken with everyone that has asked about it. Every team, according to him, asked him, and he's been completely open with it, is what he said. It's a tough situation because basing off what I know of him, I think he's a good guy. How much information do I have about Mike Green? Do I have all the right information? Do I have enough information about Mike Green? Limited information I have, I've had nothing but positive experiences with him. Doesn't mean anything other than I've had positive interactions with him, and I feel that he came off as a completely genuine human being. Now, the allegations are going to throw up a lot of red flags for people. That's why this draft stock of his fell. Texter just wrote in and said, Paul, the presumption of innocence is a cornerstone of justice because people tend to come out of the woodwork and do lie, make false accusations. And I appreciate the text. Thank you. I mean, that's a valid point. It doesn't make light of any accusation, but at the same time, you have to weigh it all in. It comes down to, is he innocent or is he guilty? Is she being honest or is she not being honest? What reasons why would she make this accusation? You have to answer all those questions, but you have to presume innocence until proven guilty. Yes, there are questions surrounding him, and so you're going to have to do your due diligence. That's the buzzword. That's what everyone has to do. When you hire someone, you have to do your due diligence. Okay, here's what's out there about you. Here's what we know about you. Here's what's on the table. And he took it head on and he addressed it. And the Baltimore Ravens felt comfortable enough, even though it's second round, that's still a lot of money. The Ravens felt comfortable enough to address it with everyone else by saying, look, we did our due diligence. We're taking him. We feel good about the pick. We feel good about him. We feel good about bringing him into the organization. We will answer those questions. That's how comfortable they are with him, that they are willing to answer these questions. Some organizations probably weren't comfortable in having that hanging over their head. Innocent or guilty, there are going to be questions brought up. And so the Ravens, second round pickup, hey, we feel good about it. We'll take that head on. We feel good with our pick. And so you hope that we all remember that. It was a great point from the texter. Innocent before proven guilty. It's not an excuse. It's not anything other than that's how the system works. You have the right to be proven guilty. If you're accused of something, you have to prove that. If you accuse, you better be right in your accusations. And with that said, tough subject to talk about. Needs to be talked about more. Hopefully, in his case, this will be the last time that we need to talk about this subject. Other than it's an allegation that exists, and it's always going to be with him. Unfortunately, you're never going to get away from it truly. But innocent before guilty, That's a fair point from our texter. Thank you. I appreciate that. Back tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. If you missed anything today or you want to go back and listen to a previous episode, you can get it for free, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Have a great night, everyone.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.